Okay. All right. So for tonight, we're going to be learning some new things tonight. We are going to be learning shapes and how to use shapes to build a dashboard. The next thing on our Excel journey now is how to build an interactive dashboard with whatever analysis that you've already carried out. Now, what is a dashboard? A dashboard is simply a collection of charts where all your charts will show in one glance. Now we were able to do some analysis yesterday, but each analysis that we were doing was on each individual page. Each analysis we were doing was on each individual page. So I'm just going to show us an example of how a dashboard looks like so that we know the end game. We know what we are working towards to. So please hold on while I open another data set with a dashboard. So the dashboard is just like a collection of your charts where all your charts are going to show as one. And even on that dashboard, you can do additional analysis. You can do multiple analysis by the use of slicers. So in the course of this class, we're going to be learning shapes. After we've learned shapes, how to manipulate shapes, draw shapes, write on shapes, color shapes, then we'll now use those shapes to build a dashboard. Then after we build a dashboard, I'll now teach us how to insert a slicer on a dashboard to make your dashboard interactive. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how a dashboard looks like. This is how a dashboard looks like. So for this analysis, if I'm clicking on all these individual pages, you can see different analyses on each individual page, just showing. But imagine I'm analyzing for a stakeholder. I can't just be showing my analysis on one page like this. Do you get? That is the function of the dashboard where all the charts are harmonized and then you can see everything at once. And that's what we're going to be building this night. We're going to be building a sample dashboard in this class. I just wanted you guys to see how it looks like because this is what we are aiming to do. All right. So before I go into the dashboard, last night's class, there was some little, will I say, confusion about some specific charts and it not being analyzed well. So I won't spend more time on that because we have a long way to go. So I just want to take a little time to just address those concerns. Now, this is the spreadsheet that we used yesterday. All right. Now, when we were being taught tables, we were taught about something called duplicates. We were taught about something called duplicate. And yesterday, I mentioned that duplicates is one of the things you check out for before you start analyzing your data. It is a form of data cleaning. By the time we move on to Power BI, we'll be doing a whole lot of other data cleaning functions. But in Excel, removing duplicates is one of the major ways you can clean your data set. So right now, for people that were, okay, now we're just going to do it live and see if you actually have duplicates or not. So now, when you click on your duplicates, but when you click on your duplicates command, every single column will be listed here. And right now, you have to check everything because we are checking across the whole data set for duplicates, not just one column. To remove duplicates simply means the information has to be replicated the same way. For example, let me go back there. For example, this particular row. Now I'm going to create a duplicate. I'm going to create a duplicate. Hold on. Now, I'm just going to copy this data, this row 3 data, and insert it here. Right now, there's a duplicate here because look at this row 3 and row 4. They are the same thing across board. Every single column there mirrors each other. So if I should use the duplicate function here, it's going to tell me there's one duplicate in this particular function. So let me try to do that. So I'm going to remove duplicates. Make sure all my columns are selected because I need to check across the whole data set to remove duplicate. And then I click OK. Now, even in that data set, it's telling me there's been if I should look through, there's been one change. Something has changed somewhere because right now I'm not getting any duplicates in that particular data set. So let me just do that again. Let me do that again. Okay, I have a new column here. I'm going to copy this, paste it here. Let me refresh my data. And let us search for column for duplicates. My Excel is non-responsive. Okay. Now it's still telling me no duplicates values were found. All right. There's something going on with this data set. But what I just want to point out is that duplicate has to be the same thing across board. Now, yesterday, the data set actually had no duplicate. But this is where the problem was. When we did an analysis, this particular analysis, let me go there. When we did this particular analysis, top five earners. Now, these names that you are seeing here, that we have top five earners, Mary Jones, James Smith, and so these names are actually duplicates in the sense that they appear twice in that particular data set. There's a Mary Jones somewhere. There are two Mary Jones in different departments. Overall, they are not duplicates, but the name, pivot table, the way pivot table does your analysis, look at how we did the analysis. We drag the employee name into rows. So the way pivot table does is a pivot table cannot separate those two Mary Jones. Let me take the name. In that particular data set, there are two employees with Mary Jones that bear Mary Jones. So the way pivot table does its own analysis, once you drag the name and put it here, the pivot table cannot say Mary Jones 1 or Mary Jones 2. It will only identify one Mary Jones. And whatever values you are benchmarking against the name, what it's going to do is it's going to take the value of the first Mary Jones and take the value of the second Mary Jones and add them together and give you analysis. That is one of the limitations of the pivot table, and there's really nothing you can do there because it cannot differentiate between those two names since it is the same particular name. It doesn't make them duplicates. They are still not duplicates. But because of the limitations of the pivot table, you can't distinguish between these names. So it's just going to list out the names and add the values for the two names. A very good way to solve this would be to go back to the data set. A very good way to solve this would be to go back to the data set and use this employee ID. Use this employee ID. Now, each employee ID is unique in the sense that going through everything, there are no same employee IDs. There are no employee IDs that look alike. But the reason why this employee ID is not advisable to use is because of how long it is. Imagine bringing this long employee ID into your chart. It may screw your chart. So what you could simply do is just to replace this employee ID with something smaller. For example, I'm replacing with it AMP employee number 001, or let me just write this in full so it doesn't cause confusion. Employee 001, and then I just copy and paste it. So right now I've replaced my employee ID, and I'm just going to refresh my data. I'm going to refresh my data. So now let us go back to that analysis. Let us go back to that analysis. So in the employee's name, I'm going to now drag the employee ID. Remember, my employee ID is now unique. Now, remember we are filtering. Sorry, my application is hanging. Please, let's wait for it. Okay. All right. So now let me sort. Please bear with me. When you have in Excel, when you have a whole lot of data sets, especially on your charts, your Excel begins to hang. That is why that filter button is very, very necessary. So I'm just going to filter right now. It's actually hanging because of this much information on the chart. But once I filter it to right now, what is showing me is showing me the whole employees in that data set. So right now I'm just going to filter to show the top five as we wanted to show. So now my chart should change. Let's wait for it. All right. So now, if I was able to now separate it or differentiate it with the new employee ID we did, my values is going to change. Right now, it is unique. I'm not having two Jeffrey Webb. I only have one Jeffrey Webb with employee ID 1467 and so on and so forth. So this is a good way to solve that issues that we are having. When you get to Power BI has the additional functionality of creating a primary key and so on and so forth. In Excel, we don't have such like primary key, or you can have a unique identifier, but you can't create a primary key because there's no function to create that. But this is what you can just use to solve that particular, create a unique value or a unique identifier yourself and use it to benchmark against your analysis. All right, so that's what so because of time, I'll just use so this particular explanation works for every other thing. And the only issues that we'll be having with this data set are where we are identifying employee name. Every other analysis has no issues. The ones with gender, department, and every other thing, educational level, those ones are good to go. The only issues are coming when we have to identify the employees. So please use this explanation I gave to you, and anywhere you are seeing employees, just use it to tackle it. Because of time, I wouldn't be able, because we have a whole lot to cover today and we don't have much time. All right, so thank you very much. So now let's go ahead. Like I said, today's order, we are going to be talking about shapes because we are building a dashboard with all these analyses. We are building a dashboard with all these analyses. So without further ado, I'm just going to teach us how to use shapes to actually build that particular dashboard. Now let me go back to that dashboard again. I would just like to point out some things to you guys. I want to show us that dashboard again. Please hold on while it's opening. There was a dominating shape. There was a shape that dominated that old dashboard. There's a shape that dominates this old dashboard. Who can tell me what shape you are looking at? There's a shape that dominates this old dashboard. Who can tell me what shape we are looking at? Yes, rectangle. And you can see the rectangle has different shapes. And on each rectangle, you can see some rectangles were named. So I'm going to be teaching us how to draw a rectangle, how to resize it, how to color it, and how to write on it, so that we'll be able to manipulate it in drawing this dashboard you are seeing. So without further ado, let us dive straight right into it. So to get a rectangle or to get any shape, please go to your insert, click on insert, and you're going to see shapes here. Some of us might not see shapes. Some of us might see illustrations, depending on the version of Excel you're using. Some of us might see illustrations and not shapes. Under your illustrations, click there, you are going to see shapes. But for those of us that can see shapes at once, so now you just click on the drop down, and then these are the different types of shapes you have in Microsoft Excel. These are the different types of shapes you have in Microsoft Excel. So with any shape that you feel you want to use, you simply click on the shape, you simply click on the shape, and then you draw. You simply click on the shape. Ilori, you said you've done it before. Have you drawn a dashboard? I know you've not drawn a dashboard in the class, even if you've done shape. So I have to take it from the beginning for those who may have forgotten. So if you still remember, good. Let's continue. So drawing a shape, you draw a shape according to whatever size you want to leave it to. So just click, select any shape, and then click and drag. There are so many shapes there. And just click and drag to the point that you want the size you want it to be. Now, how do we resize shapes? How do we resize shapes? Now, if you look at this shape, there are these points, these white points that surrounds all these shapes. I think there are like 9 of them. They surround the breadth, the length and breadth of this shape. Now, this white stuff you're seeing, we call them nodes. They are called nodes. And this is where you click to resize your shape. All these little white circles that you are seeing that surround a shape, they are called nodes. And that is where you click to resize your shape. So whatever node you are choosing, whatever node you are selecting, it is good. That is the angle whereby you can resize the shape. For example, I'm choosing this node in the middle now. Now look at the arrow. Your arrow is going to change depending on the node you selected. And that is where you can drag or resize the rectangle. This is what I mean. Now I chose this node here. I can either drag this rectangle up, I can either drag this rectangle down, or drag it up. I can either drag this rectangle down or I drag it up. So depending on where the node is facing, that is where, depending on where the arrow is facing, that is where you'll be able to resize it. So I'm getting some conflicting. You guys said you did the building dashboard 2 classes ago. Is that the general consensus? Twice. Wow. Okay, so which data sets? Can you guys tell me which data set did we use in building the dashboard? Adidas. Okay, so was it an assignment or I drew it for you guys? Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right. I also drew it in the class. Beautiful, beautiful. So which means I can actually skip this and just go ahead and building. Fine, that's good. That's good. Okay, so now let us build. So now let us build another dashboard. Good is good. It will allow us to do more since we've already covered. So let us go ahead and just build this dashboard. So now since we've covered the shapes and since I've built a dashboard twice, now the only thing I'm going to be teaching in this class now is how to apply slicers. Is how to insert slicers into a dashboard. So we are going to build a fresh dashboard, which we are going to now apply slicers. So let's just go ahead and do that. So for those of us that may actually forgotten, or for those of us that want to learn more, this is the time to do so. So like I said, building a dashboard, one of the things I said that time was that if you're building a dashboard, map out your dashboard. If you guys can still remember, map out your dashboard. Get a piece of paper, draw a plan. It's just like building a house. Draw a plan and map out the areas where you want to insert your charts, your dashboard titles, your KPIs, and your slicers. Now, the dashboard I built for Adidas, I don't think there were KPIs included. But right now, the dashboard we are going to be building this night, because we have a KPI, we are going to be inserting a KPI. So right now, I'm just going to get rid of my grid lines. I'm going to be getting rid of my grid lines. And now I can now start building. So I'm going to be inserting my first shape. I'll insert my first shape and now remember, I said one of the key things about a dashboard is your dashboard title. One of the key things in your dashboard is your dashboard title. And most times, the dashboard title is always located at the top of the dashboard. The dashboard title is always located at dashboard. That's why I always do that first. Like I said, map out your areas and allocate where each item is going to be, the titles, the slicers, the KPIs, and every single chart that you've already built. So I'm just going to go ahead and give maybe this a particular color. And then now I can use my text box to write my dashboard title. So this dashboard will be employee analytics dashboard. I'm just going to get the required size I want and take it to my. Now I can come here and remove my. I believe everybody should know this already, so I'll just be speeding this through. I'm just going to give this another color to make it all right. So right now, I'm just going to get my background shape. For this one, I want to give it a lighter color. I want to give it a lighter color. I don't want a line. I'm just going to drag down. I'm going to drag down. Okay. All right. So I have the background of my dashboard. So right now I want to get my KPIs. I want to get my KPIs here. So guys, I'm going to be teaching you something new right now. I know we've done this, but I'm going to be teaching you another way where you can copy your KPIs from your sheet into your dashboard. So here I don't want a color, but I can introduce a line. I want the line to be this particular color. All right, so my KPIs will be housed here, and I just get my text box ready to bring my KPIs in. Now, Guys, remember our KPIs are here. Remember our KPIs are in these four sheets. I have three KPIs there. So I need to bring them into my dashboard somewhere here. Now, the best way to do this, I think there was a way I taught you guys where you just do your normal Control C and then you come and paste here. But there's another way to do this. And this is much more efficient in the because of what I want to teach you guys at the end of the class, which is slicers. So I'll be telling you the reason why I am using this method. Well, let us learn the method. So to copy that slicer, to copy one of those KPIs from where it was and bring it back to this dashboard, I'm going to come to my formula bar and put equal to. I'm going to come to my formula bar, put equal to, and I'll go back to where my KPI is. Select the first KPI, which is count of employee ID, 2000, and press enter. The moment I press enter, it appears in my text box here. So you can see I don't need to do a Control C and a Control V. And I'll tell you the reason why I actually used an equal to sign to bring that value from the first sheet into the into the dashboard here. So I'll be telling you the reason why later. Well, let us just do justice to this. I'll be telling you the difference between the two methods. With the two methods you can copy and paste, it's going to work. Your value is still going to show. And you can do this one I did, put the equal to sign in the formula bar, go to wherever your value is, click on it and press enter. It will show in the text box that you had already drawn. I will be telling us the difference between the two of you, between the two of them. I'm going to show you why one is better than the other. Someone is asking me to repeat. So let me just do that very, very fast. The very first thing you need to do, just get your dashboard, get your text box ready. Just draw your text box, whatever size you want. Go to the formula bar. This is the formula bar here. Go to the formula bar, press equal to, and then go to wherever value you want to copy, whatever value you want to copy. Now I'm copying this 2000 because it is a KPI. It's a KPI showing the count of employee ID. I click on it and I press enter. Now my 2000 is going to show in my text box, in the text box I've already created. So I'm just going to go ahead and just make it a bit bigger. Make it a bit bigger. And I would like to remove the shape fill and then the outline also. Remove the shape fill and the outline. I can also change the font color. Possibly I want something like this. I want to change the font color. All right. So now I need to name this KPI. This KPI is employee or employee count. I'm just going to duplicate that and get employee count. So I'll just make this a bit bigger. Employee count. Let me reduce this. Let me bring this in. I'm still going to reduce this a bit. All right. So bring this to the center. All right. So that's the first KPI. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing for the second KPI. Get another text box. Get another text box equal to in the formula bar and go back to where my KPI is. Click on the value there and press enter. And then it applies here. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to do the same formatting I did for the previous one. Just going to repeat because I want to be consistent across board. So put this. Let me try and reduce these values a bit because of space. Okay, I can take this a bit close. Now just paste this and so this is average age. is average age. Okay. All right. So I think this is aligned enough. So then the next KPI or the last KPI, let me read this. So the last KPI, I repeat the same process, get my text box out and in the formula bar equal to, and I bring back last KPI and I press enter and it applies here. So I just run the same formatting I've done to the earlier ones. This color. I'm going to remove the background and the shape fill. So let me increase mine a bit. And over here, this is, let me see what I thought KPI is about. Monthly salary and total monthly salary. Let's make this big a bit. All right. So I have my KPIs listed out right here. Now I can go ahead and start building all the remaining charts. But before I go that, let me now teach you slicer. Let me teach you what a slicer is and how a slicer works so that we can just input it directly as we are building our dashboard. So what is a slicer? What is a slicer or what are slicers? Slicers are simply advanced filtering tools that allow you to do more analysis on the analysis that you've already done. Please let me take it again. Slicers are simply advanced filtering tools. And what do? They simply allow you to interact. They allow you to interact. They allow you to filter. They allow you to perform additional analysis on the analysis that has already been done. Now, how do you get a filter? How do you get a filter? Just look for any analysis. Go to any sheet where an analysis has already been carried out. Go to any sheet where an analysis has already been carried out. So that is either you click on the pivot table or you click on the charts. Make sure you are clicked on the pivot table or you are clicked on the chart. If you are clicked on the pivot table, you will see a function, an additional function here or additional menu here called pivot table analyzed. Pivot table analyzed. That's where I am now. If you click on the pivot table, you're going to have this extra menu called pivot table analyzed. And if you click on the chart, you're going to have the menu will change to pivot chart analyze. Now it is the same commands that you find in both. So you can click either, you can click any one of them. So now if I should click on pivot chart analyze, this is where I'm going to get my slicers. This is where I'm going to get my slicers. And now the where is it here? This is it right here. Insert slicer. Insert slicer. So when I click on it, it's going to bring this dialog box. What I'm shaking right now is going to bring this dialog box. So who can tell me what are these values that we are seeing inside this box? Who can tell me what they represent? Who can tell me what they represent? Emeka, I will change that. Emeka, I will change that. Thank you for the. I will change it. I will change the second, the third KPI. But let's concentrate on these slicers. Who can tell me what? Yes, column headers. Column headers. Emmanuel was the first person. These are all column headers in our slicers. Please let me take that again. Before that, let me correct this. Someone said this should be an average. So let's go back to our KPIs and get an average. I'll just come to my value field settings and change it to an average. All right. So it will change in my dashboard already. I just need to change the title. And this is one of the reasons why we used equal to change, to impute our KPIs into our dashboard. You can see the moment I went to go and change the KPIs on the pivot table. I didn't need to come here and start copying it again. It changed by itself to the average. The only thing I just needed to do was to change the title. That is one of the advantages. But I'll still tell you the main one when I'm done teaching slicers. So now let us go back to slicers. I said just pick any charts that you have done, click on pivot chart analyze, and click on insert slicers. And we all agree that every single value that you are seeing here are your column headers from your original data set, from the master sheet. These are all your column headers. So which means your slicers can be from any of the column header. You can choose your slicers from any of the column header. You can choose from any of the column header to actually do more analysis, to interact with the analysis that you have already done, to do further analysis on the ones that we have already done. So right, and one thing you should also need to know is you can have more than one slicer. You can have more than one slicer. But right now, let me pick just one slicer and I'll show you how it works. Then we can continue. Then subsequently, we can choose more than one slicer. So now, the slicer I'm going to choose is, let me choose department. I'm going to choose department. And then I'll click on OK. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a slicer. And that's what I'm moving. Now you can see, look at the header. It wrote department. And it listed out all the departments that we have. It listed out all the departments that we have. Emeka, you can use any slicer at all, depending on the kind of analysis you want to use. But I would like to use department. I can still use a job role if I want to repeat the example. So now I have used a slicer, I have used a department as my slicer, and you can see that all the departments are listed out. Now, immediately you create your slicer. This is very important. Immediately you create your slicer, the next thing you need to do is to connect your slicer to all the charts that you have built. Let me take that again. Once you have created your slicer, just as we have done, the next immediate thing that you should do is to connect this particular slicer to all the charts that you have, or all the charts that you have built. So if you have more than one slicer, for example, if I should impute another slicer now, just as Emeka wants, I need to do the same thing for each slicer. The first slicer connects it to all the charts. The second slicer connects it to all the charts, and so on and so forth. But the key thing is that a slicer must be connected to all the charts so that that slicer will be able to interact with the charts. So that the slicer will be able to interact with the charts. And how do we connect slicers? It's very, very simple. How do we connect slicers? Just bring your cursor here, where the header is. Bring your cursor to where the header is and right click. And then you will look for report connections. This is it over here. You will look for report connections. So you click on report connections, and then it's going to bring another dialog box. So this one, I'm just going to expand this one. Now you guys will see, these are all the charts that we have built. Over here, you can see, that's why I told us to name the sheets. Can you see that these are all the analysis that we have done when we were naming the sheets yesterday? So I know all the analysis I've done. And then you just go ahead and tick every single one of them. Tick every single one of them. Now I have done that. I'll now click on OK. Now I have connected this slicer. As this slicer is now, it is connected to all the charts that we have on this data set. Now let me prove it to you. Remember I said the work of a slicer is to interact with your chart, do more analysis with your chart. Now let me make this a bit bigger so people can see. All right. So now the analysis we are seeing on the screen right now is monthly salary by age group. Monthly salary by age group. That's the analysis we are seeing. But right now, I've already created a filter. I've created a slicer called department. This particular chart you are seeing now, the monthly salary by age group, it is for all departments that are included. The value is for all departments. But right now, what if the stakeholder I'm doing this analysis for says they are only interested in seeing these age groups in just one department? Please let me take that again. This chart you are seeing now is the monthly salary by age group for all departments. All departments are included. And if you look at the slicer, every single department is selected. The way you know it's selected is this blue background. Every single department is selected, and that is what this chart is showing. It's sorry, it is showing the monthly salary by age group of everybody, all the 2,000 employees. But what if the stakeholder now tells me that, okay, they want to see the monthly salary by age group for just one department, which is HR. They only want to know the age groups in HR and how much they are earning per month. And that is where your slicer come in. Because we have already connected this slicer to all the charts, I'm simply going to press on on HR. So please, guys, please keep your eye on the chart. The moment I click on HR, the values should change. Now, did you guys take notice? Or nobody saw what happened? The moment I clicked on, let me do that again. Let me go back. Let me go back. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Right now, the monthly salary age group that is showing now is for everybody. And the dominant group, the dominant age group that earns more for all departments is 42 to 51, as we can all confirm here. 42, the people that fall between 42 to 51 years are the age group that earns more. And this is for the whole department. But right now, I just want to pick one department and know which age group actually earns more in that department. The moment I choose it, it's going to give me the exact value for just that department, not for all the departments this time around. And that is what your slicer does. You can see I'm using this slicer to interact with that chart to get more analysis from that chart. Now let's take a look. Now let's do IT or let's do sales. Let's do sales. So please keep your eye on the chart. We're going to see that the age group is going to change. Now let us know the age group that earns more in the department of sales or in the sales department. Now, can you see that the age group has changed? Right now, in sales, now you can see, look at the slicer. It is only sales that is being selected. Every other thing is not being selected. So in the sales department, the age group of 22 to 31 are the ones that earn more. Now, let us check for operations. Which age group earns more for operations? In operations, it's 32 to 41. I hope you guys are seeing the changes. In marketing, let us see which age group earns more. 42 to 51. For marketers, the age group of 42 to 51 earn more. Let's see the IT guys. The IT guys, it is still 42 to 51. Let us see the HR guys. The HR guys is 22 to 31. Those are the age group that earn more. And then the finance guys, 32 to 41. So you can see, I was just by the slicer, I was able to know the monthly salary by age group for every individual department, just because I had a slicer for the department, a slicer that I created from the department, and I connected it to all the charts. So as this slicer is interacting with this chart, believe you me, it is going to interact with every single chart that we've created. But I'm going to do that until we've already populated our dashboard. So what I'm just going to do now, to cancel it, to select the whole department again, just come to this filter button here. Remember I said your slicer is an advanced filtering tool. So just come to this filter button here and click on it, and everything becomes selected. And it goes back to show the values for all the departments. So I hope we all got this. So now, just like Emeka said, let us insert another slicer. So I can show you that you can have multiple slicers. Just repeat the process. Click on any shape, click on any chart rather, go to pivot chart analyze, click on insert slicer. This time around, I think Emeka, what did you say we should use? Is it education level? So let's choose education level, and then we click on OK. Job role. Sorry, I'm just going to choose something else. Okay, let us satisfy Emeka. Let me delete that slicer and select the slicer that says job role. And then I click on OK. So now I have the job role slicer out here. Please, I'm not just going to go directly and start picking any job role. It will not work. It might work for this particular chart that is on screen now, but it won't work for any other thing because I have not connected this chart. I have not connected them to others. So I said immediately you create, right click and report connections and connect it to every single chart that you have built. So it's very, very simple. Just tick on all the charts. If you miss out on a chart, it is not going to interact with that chart, no matter what you do. It's not going to interact with that chart. So I simply click on OK. So right now I have two slicers now, and I can use the two slicers to get more analysis. Now imagine I want to get the monthly salary by age group. For people in HR that are consultants, HR consultants, their department is HR, but their job role is consultants. So I'm simply going to just pick the department first, HR, and then pick the job role, consultant. So for HR consultants, the age group 52 to 60, 52 to 61 are the age group that earns the highest salary. So you can see two filters working together to get more analysis. And that is the powerful function. That is what makes a slicer powerful. I can decide to get whatever values from my chart, values that were not originally shown on the chart. But because I have a slicer connected to it, I can just filter and get whatever values I like, I want. So I'm just going to cancel this. I hope you are satisfied now. So the next thing I'm going to do, now I'm going to take my slicer to the dashboard. I'm just going to do a simple copy and paste. Now, most times, it is very, very common for you to put your slicers also at the top of your dashboard. Also at the top of your dashboard, because remember, we said we are using it to interact with all the charts. So I wouldn't want it to be in the middle of the chart that we're interacting. So I'm just going to leave it here. I'm going to put it up here. Now, if you are clicked on the slicer, there will be another menu that will come out called slicer menu. This is it over here. This is where my mouse is. There will be another menu called slicer menu. So now originally when you create a slicer, it always comes out in one column. You can see everything listed out in just one column. But if I click on the slicer menu, I can decide to increase the number of columns, and this is it right here. This is it right here. I can change the number of columns for my slicer. So because I have 6 departments here, I'm going to decide to put 6 columns. So you can see, so I'll just make them bigger and just make this smaller so that it rhymes perfectly with my dashboard. So it rhymes perfectly with my dashboard. Now, the slicers will also interact with the KPIs. And this is what I said I was going to come back to tell you guys. Because I copied these KPIs directly from the pivot table using equal to sign, the slicer is going to work with it. Now look at, we want to know how many employees are in HR. I'm just going to click on HR. Now can you see that all my KPIs have changed? Or nobody noticed that? Let me do that again. Let me remove everything. The total employee count is 2,000. Our average age is 41.223, and our average salary is 6,518. But right now, I want to get these values for just one individual department. These 3 values are for all the 6 departments. But right now, I just want to get for one department. So now for sales, let me get sales. So now for sales, we have 358 people in sales. The average age of the personnel in sales is 41.1, and the average salary for the people in sales is 6,501 for IT. So you get value. So now this is the reason why I said when you are copying your KPIs from the pivot table, use the equal to sign in the formula bar, select on the KPIs and press enter. Now let me show you guys something. If I had done otherwise and selected the text box and gone to my KPIs and just did a copy and paste, copy, you can see I didn't put the comma sign, copy and just paste. Let me make it bigger. So someone will not say it's because it's not bigger. That's why it did not apply. So let me do the same thing. Let me do the same thing. So you can see the same values. But right now, let us click on the slicer and see which one will interact and which one will not interact. Now, can you see that this one that I did a copy and paste for, it will never interact because I just did a copy and paste. But this one that I copied using an equal to sign from the pivot table, the slicer will always interact it. Because right now, the slicer is seeing these 3 KPIs as a pivot table because the information was truly gotten from a pivot table using the equal to sign. But this 2,000 you are seeing here, it is just seen as a text. It is seeing it as something that is not related to the pivot table because I just copied it out. So it will never interact with it. So this is what I said I wanted to show you guys now. So I believe everybody understands perfectly well. So right now, let us go ahead and start and continue to populate our dashboard. Let us continue to populate our dashboard. So I'm just going to get another shape. Let me see if I can copy this shape. Okay. So let me do something like this. I want to put a shape here. I want to put a chart here rather. So right now we just start selecting, simple copy and pasting into the dashboard. But before I do that, I'm just going to do some little touches. Natasha wants me to repeat how the KPI was copied. Natasha, you need to ask permission from everybody, oh, because I've done this thing like 2 or 3 times now. Did you just join? Natasha, are you just joining? Guys, should we repeat it for Natasha or should we move on? You already have a defender, Umbale and Henry. Okay, okay. Natasha, you have so many people that loves you. Okay, all right. So now let me just do that. So let me just keep this my chart. Let me show you how I got the KPIs, how I copied it. Okay, I don't let me show you. I want someone in the class to actually teach it. I want someone in the class to teach it. Anybody bold enough? How did we use the equal to sign the to copy the pivots, to copy the KPIs?
Hello,
Okay, please go ahead. Who are we speaking with?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. So please teach us. How did we teach Natasha? Natasha, I
Okay.
hope you are listening. So how
So
did we? Okay.
you went to the what do you call it? This side, the format sign there at the top.
Format, are you sure?
No, no,
Insert. Let me help you out.
no, exact.
Okay.
This symbol
Formula
where
bar.
the symbol is. Yes,
Now you've jumped a step. Who can tell him what he jumped a step? You jumped a step. The step I said was first of all, insert your text box.
yes.
Now, so because
Then you go to the
yes, because
symbol side
equal to
and equal to. Then you go and pick the figure at the other side.
at the KPIs,
API, yeah. Then
click on it,
you click on it and then you enter.
enter. So Natasha, did you see that? Natasha, I hope you got that. Or do you want me to come again? Natasha has run away. Oh. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay, you got that. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now we can continue. Please, for those of us raising up our hand, at this time, if you can drop your questions in the chat box, I will try to read it, but questions normally for end of the class because of time. So now let me try to reduce this, since we've done this already, so everybody should already know how I'm doing this step. It's just a simple resizing. It's just a simple resizing. And okay, I think this is small. So let me just increase this a bit so that my charts are visible enough. Okay. All right. So I just keep repeating my how did so someone is asking me, how did I unhide the field buttons? It's a good question. So before I do that, I'm going to get another chart to show you that. But let me get another. Please hold on. Let me just copy multiple rectangles so that I don't keep on drawing another one. So the next question I want to ask now is from Alfred, who asked me how I hid field buttons. So now let me get a chart. Let me get his next chart. There's a field button there, and I'll show you how you can hide it. Okay, all right. So these are what they call, let me make my screen a bit bigger. So these are what they call field buttons. These buttons here showing some of the analysis that we have done, that we did rather. So to remove that, just right click on any of the field buttons and come to this place. Hide all field buttons. Hide all field buttons. Hide all field. Okay, how to unhide? Now there's no unhide button. Just simply do a Control Z. There's no unhide. Just simply do a Control Z. And if you don't want to hide it, just simply leave it. It will not, the field buttons will always come with your chart. So the only way they are not there is if you remove this. The only way you won't see them is if you removed your field buttons. Okay, so let me do a little bit of adjustment. I'm going to remove the background here. I'm going to make, so now we are going to test our slicers one more time. Now we already have two charts. And remember, we connected this what they call it, this slicer to all the charts. We've only tested it with we've only tested it with the KPIs. We've only tested it with the KPIs, but right now we're going to test it with these two charts now, and then you will see how it interacts with the charts. Just hold on. I want to change the orientation of this. Okay. So now I'm going to get, I think this should be enough. Yeah. Okay. Now let us test our slicers with these two charts that we have here. Let me get rid of this axis and this axis title. Okay, all right. Now let us test our slicers against this. So I'll just be clicking on any of the departments. I'll be clicking on any of the departments. So now sales, please keep your eye on the charts. Now can you see? It's only showing me the values for sales, and every other department has been filtered out. Always keep at the back of your mind that the slicer is just an advanced filtering tool. So what it does basically is to filter. What it does basically is to filter. So because these two charts that we have here are talking about departments, so he filtered every other department out and left just the value for sales. And that will happen if you choose every other department that we have there. And if you click cancel this, it's going to come back. So you can see our charts, our slicer is interacting with our charts. And that was made possible because we connected. Please, I will keep talking about these report connections because many people will say, oh, my slicers are not working. And the next thing I'll ask is, did you connect them? All right. So let us see what more we can do. Oh, sorry. So someone is asking me to slowly demonstrate how I'm inserting the chart from pivot table to dashboard. It's very, very easy. Okay, before I take your question, let me take the first question. Someone said, can you select multiple items on the slicer? Yes, you can, and I demonstrated it. You can have more than one slicer. And that was what I did when I selected department and job roles. That is the answer to your question. Yes, you can select. Okay, I think your question is, can I select multiple items on the slicer? Okay, beautiful. That is a very good question. That is a very good question. Now, please Bernard asked a question, and it's a very, very good question. Kudos, Bernard, for picking that out. Now, he asked, what his question was, can you select multiple items on this slicer? Now, what I've been doing ever since is just to select one department, finance, HR. Can you see just one? But what if I want to select two? What if I want to select finance and IT? What if I want to select finance and IT? Because if you keep clicking on one, you can only click one. You can't click both of them together. You can only click one. But it's very, very simple, guys. If I want to add one more department to this sales, I simply hold down the control key. I simply hold down the control key and choose an additional slicer. Now, can you see that two items has been selected? Just hold down your control and press your slicer, and then you can select add multiple values on it. So Bernard, I hope you understand. Okay, and I hope every other person understood that too. So that's how to pick multiple values on your slicer. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let me have this. Sorry. Okay. Do I still have more questions? Guys, please keep your questions coming. And I'll be happy and glad to inform you guys that tonight brings us to the end of our Excel class. The last thing that we had on our Excel class is to build an interactive dashboard using a slicer. That is what we are actually doing now. So at the end of this class, after getting the recording, you're going to be getting your Excel project. And please, your Excel project is compulsory for everyone that is a member of this class. A list will be published after the deadline for whoever completed the project. So please let us endeavor to do the project. So the project is quite simple. The project is quite simple. You just be getting a data set. You'll be getting a data set where you will just perform analysis, just like we've been doing. You perform analysis, you build your charts, and then you build your dashboard, and then you submit. And then you submit. So it's not something that we haven't done yet in this class. It's quite straightforward. It's quite straightforward. All right. So let's me do over here. I'm just going to remove my field buttons. Is quite large. So I want to replace this chart. Since it's talking about here, I want to replace with a line chart. I want to replace with a line chart, and I'm going to unsort that. Okay. So someone is asking me, can the background of the slicer change or it remains white? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. If you click on the slicer and you go to the slicer menu, over here are different slicer styles. Over here are different slicer styles. What we have here. So if you choose a style, now can you see I chose a purple and it just mirrored. But that's basically what you can just do. That's basically what you can just do there. Just change the color. So I changed something that looked similar to the theme of our dashboard. So someone is asking another good question. If you change something in the charts, in the worksheet, does the dashboard change automatically? If you change something on your dashboard, on your chart, it should on your dashboard. But if it doesn't, simply refresh. I thought it was refresh. What is asking is that if I should come and change the chart here and it's already, if I should come and change the chart here and it's already on the dashboard, will it reflect on the battle? Yes, it should. But if it doesn't, simply refresh your data and your dashboard is going to change according to the changes you've made. All right, so let's go on. Let's go on. Um, so I've been able to finish this one. I've been able to finish this. So if time runs out on us before we complete this, I wouldn't want us to bother much. We've already done building of dashboards multiple times in this class. So the most important thing that we learned in this class was these KPIs, how to copy them, and the slicers, how to interact with them. Now, someone is asking me, please confirm one created slicer controls all charts after connecting them. Yes, and that is what you are saying, Eddie. This one chart here is interacting with every chart here. And it was because we connected that slicer to all the charts. So this one slicer interacts with all the charts that we have there. Even if you have more than one slicer, you just connect them to all the charts that you have built, and they will interact. And they will interact. Please keep your questions coming. Keep your questions coming. Let's try as much as possible to trash out any things that we feel we've left out or you would like me to talk about again. Like I said, we're going to be getting our Excel project today at the end of the class. It's very, very easy. The insights will be given to you. All you just need to do is do your analysis, build your charts, and build your interactive dashboard. So Stage is asking, my slicer headers refuse to show on the dashboard, but they are interacting. What must be the problem? I'm having trouble understanding this your question. What do you mean by your slicer headers? Please, what do you mean by your slicer headers? So someone else is asking another question. How do we insert a timeline? Now, it's very, very easy. Though I didn't teach it, but I can just show you guys. The timeline is also is just the same way you got your slicer. So timeline are mostly used for um data or analysis that basically talk about time. Maybe you have a whole lot of time analysis to show there. Maybe difference between time or you have time like months, hours, and stuff. So the timeline is basically used for those analysis to show the range between those timelines. So it's very, very easy. The same thing you did to get your slicer is the way you're going to get your timeline also. Just pivot chart analyze. This is timeline beside it. This is timeline beside it. But for you to have a timeline, but for you to use a timeline in your data sets, there must be something related to time. There must be something related to time, either a date or time itself. Either a date or time itself. So you have that. If you have that, simply repeat the process, insert a timeline. Now you can see we have a timeline there, which is date of hire. You click it, you click on OK, you connect to all charts, and then you use the timeline just the way you are using your slicers. So it is very, very simple and straightforward. So does anybody have any other questions there? I'm still trying to build the dashboard, but I'm paying more attention to the questions because I know most of us should be able to do this now. We've done it multiple times. So the next analysis there is monthly salary per job role, which I'm going to click over here. Let me get one. So that is here, right here. Someone is talking about forecasts. Right now, in my own schedule given to me, I don't have a forecast, but possibly if it's something that is to be taught, we are going to teach you in Digital World Tech Academy. So don't worry about that. But for tonight, I'm not teaching forecast because it's not in the plan for tonight. But if I should confirm or the management should confirm, definitely you're going to be taught. So don't worry yourself about it much. You definitely be taught. So I have another question there. I'm trying to read that while trying to solve this. Please hold on. I'll come to your question now. I'll come to your question now. Yeah, Power Query. I knew it was going to come up. So Power Query is going to be taught in Power BI. Power Query is going to be taught in Power BI. There's Power Query also in Excel, and they basically do the same thing, but we teach it in Power BI. So that is something to look forward to. That is something to look forward to. All right, somebody asked a question before you, Bernard, and let me try. Someone said the headers refuse. Oh, Stage, your headers, please check again. Try to follow everything I did. I was headers showing and working now. The slicers are very, very simple to use. They are very, very simple to use. Let me make this bit aligned. So please, I'm still expecting more questions. Emeka, you were raising up your hand earlier. I believe I've treated some of your questions. If you still have more concerns, please let us take them. Stage, you're raising up your hand. You don't want to write your questions anymore. Hold on, I'll come to you. I'll come to you. I'm taking the questions from the chat section for now. I'll round up with voice on. So I think people are more comfortable with the chat section. So someone is asking, is it ethical to populate one's portfolio using a client's data if you change the title and sensitive data like names? Now, this is an ethical issue, and you'll have to be very, very careful when you are using a data set that a client gave you. That data set might be so confidential that even if you change the title and some of the data, you can still be in breach of contracts. You can still be in breach of contract because a data set, the owner of the data set, whatever you change, if they see it and look at it critically well, they will know it is still their data set. So it is not advisable to use people's confidential data, especially real life data, and maybe it was given to you to analyze, and then you say because you've done a good job, you now want to host it on your portfolio. You can do that only if you've been given the express permission to do so, or else you can be sued for infringement. I hope I was able to answer that, Alfred. So another person is asking me, how are we going to do data cleaning? Now, in Excel, we've done some data cleaning. In Excel, we've done some tech data, especially when you were in text functions. Most of the functions we were doing in text functions was part of data cleaning in Excel. Also, when we were doing tables, when we were removing duplicates, that is also a data cleaning. But majority of the data cleaning will be done in Power Query, and that will be taught to us in Power BI. So we're still going to learn data cleaning in data analysis. But we've done some Power clean and data cleaning in Excel, but the rest or majority will be done in Power Query, which will be taught when we get to Microsoft Excel. Yes, trim, functions like trim, functions like text, converting from a text, they are all data cleaning functions. Okay, so please keep the questions coming. Let's try to, I want everybody to be able to do their Excel project without calling for help. I want you to be able to do your project on your own without coming to the group and asking for help. If you follow this class since when we started, I believe you should be able to do everything that we are doing right now. We tackled everything and we tried to and I pieces everything and told you what is behind each. So I'm expecting everybody to pass their project with flying colors. Someone else is asking me, can we create each slicers on each chart and connect them? That question is a bit confusing. Can you create each slicer? That means can you create a slicer on each chart? Yes, yeah, you can create all your slicers on one chart and connect them. It's still the same thing as taking each chart and getting one slicer. It's still the same thing. So you can just pick a chart, connect, build and connect as much slicer you have, or you want to be taking one chart after the other and be building a slicer. That one will just take you a longer bit than just picking your whole charts, building your whole charts, your whole slicers rather, with just one particular chart. So that one you're saying is not really needed. You can just do it the way I did it. Pick a single chart and build all your slicers. Build and connect them from there. All right. Please, guys, I hope you have not run out of questions. I want to know how to use the Analyze tab, okay? Since some charts can't interact with pivot tables, How can they be made interactive? Nana, I taught us this yesterday. I taught us this yesterday. I told you, and when we were starting charts, I said there are some charts that are not interactive with the pivot table, that you need to copy them out of your pivot table. Now, because you copy them out, if you copy them and pasted them on your pivot table, if you copy them from your pivot table and just pasted them, the slicers will not work for it. But if you did it in that manner that I taught you yesterday, the slicers will work for it. So let me take this again because it's very important. So please, guys, this is what she's asking about. Let me look for let me look for a data set to do that. Okay, let me take this that I just did. So now I want to use, yes, using equals to sign. Now I want to use the funnel chart to represent this. I want to use the funnel chart to represent this. Now the funnel chart is not going to work because we all know why. It's not compatible with the pivot table. So now if you now select your old data set and do Control C and come anywhere and do Control V, if you build a chart with this particular data like this, if you build a particular with a chart, this is the funnel chart. If you build a chart, come in. If you build a chart, now we build a chart now with information like this, and I take it to this thing. So now let me take this, let me take it to the dashboard. I always like to show people practical examples. Now let me take it to the dashboard. I'm just going to paste it here. Where is it? Okay, it's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Now let me use the slicers. Can you see every other chart? Every other chart is changing, but this particular one is not changing. This particular funnel chart that I just copied is not changing, and it cannot change because in copying from my pivot table, I just did a Control C and a Control V. It is not, the slicers is not recognizing it as a pivot table. It's just seeing it as something created from a text. So it's not going to interact with it. But now let's do the correct thing. Let's do the correct thing. Let's go back. I hope I can find that data set. I hope I can find that page. Monthly salary. No, I've passed it. That's monthly salary per educational level. Oh, okay. Let me take it one at a time. Monthly salary per educational level. Okay, I have it here. So now let me do something different now. Now, instead of me doing copy and paste, I'm just going to pick where I want to copy it to. Equal to, press equal to there. I'm copying it into that column D. Press equal to that column D. Select your analysis on the pivot table. Select and press enter. Now let us build a chart now. Let us build the same funnel chart. Let us build the same funnel chart. Okay. Let me copy. And now let me go to my dashboard and paste. Now let us see if the charts. Now let us see. Please take a look at this one I just created. Let me make it bigger a bit. Now let us see if the slicer will work with it or not. Now I'm clicking IT. Guys, did it work or not? With this new one we created. Did it work or not? I need a response. Nana, you're the one that asked that question. Yes. So you can see why you should always copy your data set out of the pivot table using equal to sign so that your slicers can work with it. Do you get? So that is very simple and straightforward. It's very simple and straightforward. All right, all right, all right. Any more questions? Lara said interesting. Excel is very, very interesting. So because of time, we will not be able to build. I took a whole lot of questions instead of working, and I think that's the most important thing. So we'll not be able to build this dashboard. We'll not be able to finish it, but no qualms. We've done something like that before, and you guys all understand. I'm just trying to do it again so that it becomes refreshed in your brain. So the thing that you have to live with this night is this. Someone said it's a great trick. It's not a trick. It's not a trick. Do you get? It's just a way around it. So using these little things that we've done, like the equal to sign, use it with the KPIs, use it to copy out your data from the pivot table, and then inserting the slicers, they can take your dashboard from a 0 to 100. Now, you imagine you building a dashboard with additional features like a slicer. With a slicer, it makes it more interactive. You can do more analysis than someone that built a dashboard without using a slicer. You can do more analysis. So you can see inserting a slicer on your dashboard takes your analysis from a 0 to 100, and it makes you, well, your analysis to be more preferable than someone that did not insert a slicer at all. So guys, I'm still open for more questions before we bring our Excel journey to an end. So now this is how we give out projects. Now your project is going to be given out this night. You're going to get your project this night. Like I said, it's just a data set. The insights are on the data set, and all you just have to do is to analyze, build your charts, and build your dashboard. Now, for next week, there will be no class. Next week, there will be no class. And this is to give ample time for people to complete their project. We want everybody to be able to do this project. This is not just an assignment. We want everybody, because we're going to collect names of everybody that submitted the project. So we're going to give enough time for people to actually build to complete the Excel project. So we are not going to be having classes next week. The next time we are going to be having classes is upper week, and we are starting with Power BI. All right. So I think I've been able to so edits. I think your question just came in. Someone is asking me, how can I get the background color of the dashboard? Please watch this class from the beginning, or watch the other times you build a dashboard. You'll be able to find out how we got the background. Edit is asking, how can we get different data sets to practice? So I'm just going to drop some websites in the group. I'll drop some websites in the group where you can get different data sets. For those of us that are in Nigeria, there's a bureau, because it's called the National Bureau of Statistics. They have different data set about different sectors in Nigeria, the power sector, the banking sector, where you can go and download. And for those of us that want international data, I'll be dropping another link where you can go to download data 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 sets rather Okay. All right. So I think I've been able to answer. Let me check. Is there anybody raising up their hand? Okay, Laura, it's good. It has been good teaching you guys too. All right. So I have someone raising up their hand. Let me see if I can quickly take this before. So Ilori, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, boss. Please, I want to ask, how do you get that 100% chart from that column chart?
Okay. All right. Let me just quickly show you. I will have referred you to previous classes. The 100% column chart is a type of column chart, and this is where you get it. Once you come to column chart, look up here. See where my cursor is. This is the 100% stacked column. This is it here. So just look up. Most of the charts have variations. So these up here are the different variations of the column chart. Okay, so Umbale, you said you didn't get about the project. Please just listen again, watch the video towards the end. You're going to hear everything I said about the project. So guys, without any other questions coming from you guys, I would just like to thank each and every one of you. It has not been easy. It's not an easy thing to join the class in the evening, coming back from work and taking it to 10 p.m. But most of us have been dedicated from day one, and it is always a pleasure to come and teach you guys Microsoft Excel. So at this point, I would just like to say thank you for joining us at Digital World Tech. My name remains Babajide. If you guys have more questions, you can always interact with me on WhatsApp, and I'll do my best to answer you guys. So thank you guys once again. Have a lovely night and goodbye.